Going back to, I guess, the Riddle of Steel time,
Yeah,
did one of your bands play with Riddle of Steel and you saw Dave with them and then you ended up joining the band?
actually, before Dave. So when they first started, they had a drummer named Ken McCrae.
Hmm.
Rest in peace. He was an amazing drummer, really great drummer, St. Louis guy. And they had an EP called Burn,
Hmm.
and Ascetic put that out, who ended up putting out all the Riddle of Steel stuff and a good chunk of the Traindodge stuff too. So we were doing a lot of shows with them in the Midwest. And then we did a tour after Python came out. We did a big West Coast tour with it was a Traindodge Riddle of Steel tour,
Ah,
which was a lot of fun. And then, I mean, it wasn't a whole lot after that. I can't remember. It was probably 2003 or four. And Riddle had just parted ways with Dave, and it was like, I mean, like maybe a week or two before tour.
oh,
And so Andrew called me. He's like, "Hey, we're kind of in a spot here. Can you help us out?" So I like learned their set in 2 days. Drove up there and did I think a 2 week tour with um with those guys, and then kind of stayed after that. Just kind of kept going.
oh, that's crazy. Was
Yeah.
that for that first tour? Who was Riddle of Steel playing with? It wasn't Train Dodge. You weren't double dipping, were you?
The first time we went to the West Coast, no, Dave was still in the band.
Okay.
And then the first tour I did, it was
Yeah.
just me. Although the last two shows were also with Train Dutch, so I did play double. But then we did. I mean, I want to say at least two or three other tours that were Train Dodge Riddle tours where I did both sets back to back. Yeah,
Damn.
yeah,
Were you able to pace yourself okay to not be
yeah.
completely burnt out
I,
by the second one?
yeah, that I couldn't do it now, but yeah, in my 20s, yeah, sure, yeah,
Damn, man.
yeah.
What were some of the other bands that I guess Riddle of Steel would have even like done tours with that you recall with your time in the band?
With my time,
Yeah.
we did a tour. Well, that first tour we did was with a Spanish band called No More Lies.
Hmm.
We did a tour with we did two tours opening for Local H. Um, Bunch of tours with Train Dodge. I'm trying to think if there's any other long tours with another band the whole time. I'm probably blanking. Oh, we did a tour, an East Coast tour with this great band called Sonic. Do you know that band?
I don't think
Um,
so.
Jason Farrell from Blue Tip and Swizz, awesome DC musician.
Right
We
on.
did a tour with them. I'm probably forgetting something really bad right now.
Yeah.
Someone's going like, "You forgot me."
Ah, when you listen back to either, Got That Feeling or 1985, what do you hear in your playing that might have been sort of a more obvious influence? I mean, I always can hear maybe, I feel like a lot of you guys have, and I say you guys as like between sort of the Shiner group all the way over to y'all. I feel like there's a common theme there with Bonham and just playing
Oh, sure.
big, powerful, bombastic
Yeah.
shit. Maybe some Dale Crover or something. I'm not sure, but I was just curious, like if you've revisited that, or you're like, you know what, I can hear a few particular influences coming through at that time.
When I listen to Got This Feeling, the main thing I hear is Turnkrantz because a couple of those songs were done before I joined. In particular,
Ah,
there's one called Our Guitars Are Haunted that's just a crazy, busy drum part, which I love and I would never have come up with on my own.
gotcha.
It's a lot of fun to play, but at that point, when I first started, when I joined, all we were doing is playing Python songs,
Mm,
plus a couple of the new ones that they'd written with Dave. So I was just basically doing my best Turnkrantz impersonation.
interesting.
And then, but I think, yeah, to your point though, I think in general that band, yeah, I think Bonham mixed with Stuart Copeland. That's probably what you know
Nice.
the
There.
drummer in that band is kind of like. And I think it's cool to listen to that band. They recorded with three drummers, and I've seen them live with even two other guys. So I've
Wow.
seen that band with four different drummers, and then I've been a drummer, I think it's a testament to Andrew and Jimmy that they sound like Riddle of Steel in all those with all those different drummers, which is awesome. That's kind of what you want. You want an identity. That's the hardest thing to do,
Right.
honestly, as a band. Is like
Right.
have a thing that's just yours. So
Right, right. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the police thing. I can hear, I'm not certain if it's maybe Andy Summers' guitar influence with Andrew or possibly some of the Stuart Copeland isms, albeit again, probably a little more like big, crazy, bombastic style in your case.
yeah,
But there is a police influence that is for sure I can hear in Riddle of Steel.
I think that delay. thing that Andrew does on guitar. I mean, it's a kind of like a shorthand Andy Summers thing that's
Yeah.
does it.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of the stuff on Python too. There's a lot of like kind of on top of the beat, um,
Hmm.
kind of Stuart Copelandy kind of things happening, which is
Right.
really I find kind of fascinating because when you listen to like Russian Circles, he really changed. He doesn't play that way.
Not
Um,
at all.
yeah, which so it's
Yeah.
super interesting. Yeah.
Right. And of course, for those listening who haven't pieced it together, we're talking about Dave Turnkrantz now, who, as
Yeah.
you just said, plays with Russian Circles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love the guy.
Another guy that I've interviewed, I had a fun interview. I interviewed him back in the day in Brooklyn in this old, like kind of like it's almost like you play in the gymnasium. It's this place Warsaw that's in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, and there's still like old classrooms with little chairs and
Oh
like an
wow.
old movie projector, and the acoustics honestly are complete shit. They sounded good because they can just crank up and play that big, heavy kind of black metals halftime shit.
Yeah.
But it was fun talking to him as well. I don't recall how much I talked to him about Riddle, so I should probably go back and listen to that. But yeah, it's really interesting now catching up with both of y'all. But in listening to Got That Feeling, there's that track, This Is a House of Lies. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I really dig. It's a great guitar line that goes through the verse, and your drumming also
Oh,
really,
thanks.
really killer, man.
Hell yeah. Thank you. That would have been one of the outside of Baby Bird, maybe that'd been one of the first ones that we did after I joined that we kind of put
Nice.
together.
Do you feel like you, with the short circumstances, although you had to learn a bunch of Python stuff and go out and do that tour, you kind of got a primer of both the band and Dave's style. By the
Yeah.
time Got That Feeling came around and a song like I just mentioned, when do you feel like you were kind of like you were at home with it, so to speak?
Yeah, I would say yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some stuff that I like, but I'm like I said, I wouldn't have come up with on my own, but it was
Yeah.
a blast to play. But there's plenty of stuff that I helped put together in the room with them, and I got to do my own drum parts, and so I definitely feel like I'm on there. And but for sure by the last record, 1985, it's yeah, even more so.
I
But
really like.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
oh no, interesting too, because like that the way Andrew was writing songs also changed around then too. So it's a really different sounding record to me. I like it, but it's
Yeah, with 1985, you're saying?
yeah, it's kind of miles to me anyway. A lot of it is kind of far away from Got This Feeling. It's a little less manic. It's a little more I don't know what the right word is, measured or something. It's a little more
Right.
yeah.
I like one of the songs that I really like off 1985 as well. I've actually mentioned it to Andrew before.
Yeah.
Is the "Who's the fella that owns this shithole?" The
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood reference
Yeah.
there, Western
Uh-huh.
reference.
We got good. So it's
Unforgiven.
who's the fella owns this shithole, and we
Yeah,
got so much people like the guy who was doing the artwork. He's like, did you know it just says who's the fella owns? Shouldn't it be who's the fella that owns? It's like no, no, no. In the movie, he just says who's the fella owns this shithole.
you're right. He does
Yeah,
say that.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
We're like, no,
man,
no, don't put that in there. That's how he says it. Yeah.
that's funny, man. We're going literal with this one.
Oh yeah.
No, I dig Andrew's kind of chicken picking kind of intro that goes through the verse on that one, and
Yeah.
that like that intro.
He's so good, man. He's so good.
I love it,
Yeah.
dude. With some of the shows in that y'all played, are there any particularly fun ones? Any particular bizarre ones? When you think about back on those days, I mean, I'm assuming it's just the three of y'all traveling in a van.
Yes, I maybe once or twice we got to take a merch person with us, but most of the
Yeah,
time just the three of us,
yeah.
and a lot of you know the deal, like sleeping on floors and
Oh yeah.
uh, but fun. I was like in my late 20s, I guess, mid to late 20s, something like that. It was just a. I'm so glad I had those years. Yeah, and we were going pretty hard. We were touring all the time, and a couple
Right.
of trips to Europe, all over the U.S. And yeah, those like local age tours were pretty cool. There was a couple of really big shows, over 1,000 people on that one, and then
Awesome.
played with Alkaline Trio once. That was a pretty
Wow.
big show. Those are probably the biggest ones. Although some of those were like openings on our own. We weirdly did well in Tampa. There was a promoter in Tampa, Florida called um, what was his name? Jack Spatafora.
Okay.
And he was just really huge supporter of the band, huge fan, and just made sure I think he invited us down. We weren't planning on going. He's like, "Hey, come down and play," and just really, hit the pavement, make sure everyone knew about us. And we had a lot of great shows there. Like we'd go on tour for like a month and, it'd be like making, maybe $100 from the door, selling a couple hundred, sleeping on floors. And then in
Yeah.
Tampa, you get to Tampa and it's like, oh, cool. We made 1,500 and we sold it's like for one night on tour, you were like, oh shit, if every town in America was like this, we could quit, we wouldn't have to work.
Right.
Yeah.
What a bizarre thing. So he was just
Yeah.
a fan of the band and
Just
he
a
was,
big fan and really connected in that town. And yeah, just put in a lot of time making sure we had really great shows there. And we always had really great shows there. Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Were there moments, I'm assuming, because you were playing in Traindodge as early as what, late 90s, early 2000s?
Traindodge started in summer of 96.
Wow.
And I'd say for the first, probably let's say 7 to 8 years or so, we were pretty like, all in. Everyone was like, kind of full timing it. And then, in the early 2000s, the other two guys were kind of like, hey, this is cool. Let's keep going. But what if we had jobs where we could maybe buy a house or go on vacation or
Yeah, do
which makes
adult
all
shit.
this it makes all the sense in the world. And I'm slightly younger than those guys, and I just wasn't ready yet. So kind of ever since then, I've been in Traindodge plus another band. So
Wow.
so for a while it was Riddle of Steel. For a very short time, do you know Gunfighter, Jason Blackmore's band?
I don't know that I do.
So okay, so it started as a Molly McGuire side project.
Okay.
Gherkin was the drummer,
Crazy.
and they did 2 records. And then around the time Gherkin joined Shiner, I think this is right. Molly McGuire kind of folded, and Blackmore kind of put all of his energy into Gunfighter. And then because Gherkin was in Shiner, he got David Silver to play drums. So David Silver did a bunch of touring in Gunfighter. And then after that, after Dave, I think, moved back east, he needed a drummer. So I played with Blackmore for about a year in that band. And then after that, that was actually before Riddle of Steel, and then Riddle of Steel. And then I played, and after Riddle of Steel broke up, I played briefly in a band called City of Ships. They
Okay.
just needed a drummer in that time. And then then I did about a year and a half playing with the Life and Times.
Oh, crazy. I didn't know you played in the Life of Times.
Not drums.
Oh, really?
So yeah, for about a year and a half, they had a fourth dude doing like keyboard, guitar, backup vocals, a little percussion, and I did that for about a year and a half, and then right around then is when my wife and I started having kids. So then I just kind of slowed down, and just did the odd Traindodge tour now and again,
Yeah.
and now my kids are old enough. I'm pretty busy again. So yeah.
That was
at that point I lived in Seattle and I started a couple bands up here, and then yeah.
that was going to be one of the things. I was pretty sure. How many kids do you have?
I have 2,
Okay. How old are they?
16 and 11.
Okay. A little spread out, 5 years apart.
Yep.
Crazy. Once that started happening, it sounds like you had to take a little bit of a step back and sort of balance all that, or you just
I did mostly because they both had pretty significant health issues early on, both in life. So I had like kind of, as soon as we got one taken care, kind of settled health wise, the other one had a issue. So it just kind of turned into like a 8 or 9 year period where that's all I did was really, just manage. Yeah. Kids
Wow.
stuff. Yeah.
Crazy. How do
Yeah.
you balance it now that they're older? I mean, when they're
Now that they're
one is a
older,
teenager, but
Yeah. One is a teenager driving
crazy.
really independent, and the other one's just started middle school.
Yeah.
And also I moved, my parents are a little older. So we moved, my wife and I moved my parents up here just so they could have a little help. We found a house in Seattle that had a separate apartment in the lower level.
Nice.
So they live here too. So that's handy too. They can, when the kids get home from school, they can always just run downstairs and hang out with the grandparents. So yeah. So all of that combined, yeah, at some point, about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, my wife was like, I think if you want to go on tour again, I think we're good. So
Wow.
yeah.
Damn. So yeah, you got the grandparents in for your kids, that is, in the house to help you with that, and it sounds like both a supportive, significant other, which is also crucial.
Oh, of course, yes. No, the best. Like, yeah, the best, the most supportive person. Yeah.
Damn, man.
Yeah. I've been married for like I don't know, 27 years, something like that, a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Going back to when you first started playing, when did you what age were you when you got your first full like drum set or even half drum set?
I started playing. So like I was where I lived in Virginia at the time. Like in sixth grade, they started school band around sixth grade or whatever. And I wasn't like a sports kid or whatever. So when it came time to an elective, I was like, I'll do band, but only if I can do drums, because that's at that point I was like well into being a rock fan. So I was like, well, that can drums make sense. Like you can't play flute in a rock band,
Right.
really. So
Yeah. Jethro Tull might be one of the
yeah,
few exceptions, right?
yeah. And so I did that, and then so that was like sixth grade. I think by eighth or ninth grade, I'd badgered my parents enough to get a drum kit, and then yeah, that was it.
What was your first drum set?
Oh, it was a Tama. What do they call it? I think they're just called Rocks. Not the nice ones. They're just called Rockstar. It was
Not
like
the
Tama's.
Superstar, but
No, it was like Tama's like Pearl Export kind of thing.
got you.
You know, like I don't know what the wood was in the shop.
Yeah, 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 yeah. How long did you have that kit, and was that what you were playing your first shows on?
Yeah, yeah. So within a year of getting that kit, I had a band playing local shows, and then pretty quickly I traded that in towards a. I wish I still had it. It's a 1969 Ludwig, like white marine pearl
Mm-hmm.
kit. You know,
Is
like something like 13, 16, 18, 24. I had the little rail on it for the tom mount.
uh-huh.
And then I like stupidly sold that to get another newer Ludwig kit,
Yeah.
which that kit's on the first two Traindodge records.
Okay.
And then I sold that to buy a bigger, older Ludwig kit, like a 90s kit that's still sitting in my basement here. And that's on Got This Feeling. That's on probably four or five Traindodge records. That's on a lot of stuff.
What Ludwig kit is that? Because there was one I saw some video. I don't recall if it was Traindodge or Riddle of Steel when I was going down at YouTube rabbit holes. It looked like you were playing like I don't know that it was a power tom, but it was pretty deep, and maybe it
Yeah.
made the bass drum look smaller, like a 20 inch, or maybe it wasn't. It was just a deep rack tom. It was
Well, you might
white.
have seen a picture of me playing with Train Edge with my first or my second loaded kit, which was a blonde maple, and it did have the deep toms, but it was like 12, weirdly 15, and
Oh,
the kick was a 20.
that's what I
And
thought. It
so
looked like a 20.
yeah, and so for somebody as big as me, they look like little. It looks like a child's, you know. And
Yeah,
I used to back in that I used to sit really high,
yeah,
and I had my cymbals pretty low.
right.
And then ever like as I've aged, I've sat lower and my
Lower,
cymbals
and
have
your
gotten
cymbals are
higher.
higher.
And I've played bigger. I got bigger drums, so yeah.
Right. Yeah,
But I will
you
say that 22, that or the 20 rather, that kick, especially recording, is awesome.
they're very specific and very like tonally awesome. You can get a lot of resonance, I find, with them. I love the
Yeah,
way that
yeah.
20s record.
Super punchy. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's funny. Okay, so that's the story. That was one of the other questions because again, in going down that rabbit hole, I saw that kit and I was like, I'd swear he was playing a 20-inch bass drum. So
yeah,
that's what that one was.
yeah.
With in listening, or I guess going back to when you first started playing, who were some of the drummers and or bands that you were especially digging at the time?
When I would have started, like as far as specifically drums go, you mentioned already Bonham,
Yeah.
Stuart Copeland, those are big ones. Bill Bruford.
Oh yeah.
Um, Weirdly, Alex Van Halen. I don't think he gets mentioned enough. He's a
Mm-hmm.
great drummer. And and then like newer stuff, like I tend to be like it's not like my favorite drummers are the ones that like the ones I find myself ripping off are the ones that I've listened to a million times.
Yeah.
And the drummers I've listened to a million times, oddly or honestly, it's not because of the drums, it's because I like the song so much. So I'll end up like mentioning a lot of drummers who are like, that guy's not that good. I'm like, well, but I listen to that stuff so much that that stuff just kind of comes out in my playing, whether I like it or not. So obviously Ringo,
Yeah.
um, Brendan from Fugazi,
Oh, he's so
who,
good.
yeah, which you might not think on a
Oh,
technical level, some of it like just the way
he's
he
so good.
plays. I found myself on a couple of occasions, like I remember one Train Dodge, some EP we did, and I like recorded this fill, and I was like, oh, that's so good. And then like after it came out, like 5 months later, I was listening to something on Steady Diet and Nothing, and I was like,
Whoops.
fuck, that's what that is. That's exactly. I just subconsciously caught that fill entirely, and that's what that is. So yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned both Brendan and Ringo. I interviewed him as well some time ago, and I told him that he was my Ringo because there's always that
Oh, I thought you
generation
were going
that
to say you
saw.
interviewed Ringo.
I did not. No, but I interviewed Brendan, and I was just telling him that he was my Ringo because there's that whole generation that saw the Ed Sullivan Show, and
Yeah.
we're like, all right, that's what I want to do, and definitely hearing Fugazi and digging both sort of his approach to it, his groove, his dynamics, and everything else with the band and how musical it was, and the attitude that everybody had, and
Yeah.
just their very interesting approach in the first place to keeping this punk attitude, but not being confined to necessarily like punk riffs or punk chord progressions. They were just really expansive, but while still somehow keeping this sort of punk, attitude. And I'm a big fan of Brendan's plan. I think he's pretty
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
I do too. And I don't think he gets mentioned enough. Yeah.
I agree.
As a drummer, but again, that's just me.
Right.
Um,
Damn.
a guy, the band Chavez?
Absolutely.
That guy, James Lowe, he's a big one. Love that guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Super cool.
And then like, I don't, like I've listened to enough Steely Dan, like whoever plays on those records. So
Yeah.
there's so many of them, but yeah.
Big grab bag of ridiculous drummers.
Yeah. Phil Collins playing on Peter Gabriel records, but lots of Peter Gabriel drummers too. Just huge fan of that stuff.
Vistalite drums. At
Mhm.
which point did you start playing those? And did you kind of get a Vistalite kit and that's sort of been your go-to since then?
Since I've got that kit, yeah, I've played that a lot. So with my practice space here in Seattle, we share with a couple of bands, and the one of the bands is the Museum of Light guitar player's other band, and in that
Okay.
band, his little brother is the drummer, Jeff, great drummer, Jeff Alvarez, and he had a Vislight kit, and the space was so small we could only have one kit kind of set up at one time, so he was like, "Oh, we'll just leave mine set up," and so I ended up playing his Vislight kit kind of every time I practice, and just over the course of I don't know, probably about a year, I'm like, just got so into it, and like, okay, I gotta get myself one of these.
Yeah.
And so did get exactly that. The bass drum's slightly bigger, but other than that, same. It's 24, 13, 16.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
And then
interesting.
and it's like one of those things where I got really, I had this kit here, the Vislight kit here in Seattle, like, oh, this is the thing. And then I had this one, the CNC kit
Hmm.
in Oklahoma City for when I went back for Traindodge stuff.
Yeah.
And then one of the guitar player, the second guitar player in Traindodge, this guy Ross,
Hmm.
he's also a really great drummer,
Okay.
and he plays in this band called Alumnus. He has a Vislight kit exactly the same size as mine, so it got to the point where I would go back to Oklahoma, fly back for a show, and I was like, well, I'll just use yours because that's what I'm used to using.
Yeah.
And so last time I was down there in a van, I was like, I'm just gonna bring these back because they need a little rehab. So I just brought these back because I'm just gonna use your kit when I'm in town, and then
Yeah.
get these back into shape. And then I started recording. Yeah, the Vislight kit, the clear Vislight kit's on the first Museum of Light record. It's on the
Okay.
first Com Collapse record. It's on the last Traindodge record. It's not on the newest Museum of Light record because we flew to Norway to make that record, and I didn't fly with a kit, obviously. So
That's so interesting that you say that. That was one of the records that I wanted to ask you about. What studio did y'all record, and what's the name of the record again?
the new Museum of Light record is called Diviner,
Okay, got
and
you.
that's our second. And we recorded that at a studio called Ocean Sound, and it's on the west coast of Norway, outside of
Wow.
a city called Ålesund, and it's a guy. Do you know Kalundwald City?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so Scott has done both of that band's records. And after we did the first one at his place in Oakland, and then at some point in the following year, I saw on Instagram he was recording this band, Coil Guns, a Swiss band.
Oh, I
And
know them. Yeah, I've interviewed
yeah,
Luke Hess as well.
okay, yeah. So he was doing their last record
Yeah.
at this studio, and he kept posting photos of this gorgeous studio right on the coast.
I feel like I saw pictures of that, and I might have
Yeah,
even talked to
and
Luke about this.
yeah. So I immediately texted Scott. I was like, "Dude, where are you right now?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm in this studio." I'm like, and I was kind of like, "Oh man, it looks amazing." I'm assuming like people like us can't afford that studio. And he's like, actually, it's not that bad. And so then we just kept talking about it, and we're like, all right, we're gonna go. And so we just did it. Um, yeah, so
How long were y'all there for to
we
record?
were there for had the studio for 8 or 9 days, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, went there, and so I just like they had I knew they have a big gear list, so I knew what kits they had. Flew to Norway with a bag of sticks and nothing else because I knew that they had. Oh, and a couple drum heads. I checked
Right.
quickly because I'm picky about that, but I knew they had this awesome old Ludwig, like late '60s, I think, kit, and then awesome, Istanbul cymbals and K Constantinople cymbals that I can't afford anyway. I'm like, I'll
Damn.
just use those. And they had a superphonic just like mine, so I'm like, well, that's there, so I'll just use that.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I really dig the drum sound and overall production of that most recent record. That's
Dude,
interesting. I knew nothing of the
Scott's the best,
background
man.
on
Yeah,
that. So that's
yeah,
really interesting talking to you about it.
yeah. Scott's great. He gets drum sounds like you know, you know. I will
Damn.
do a playback. I'm like, Scott, those drums sound amazing, and he's like, he always tries to. It's like, no, well, that's because of you. I'm like, no, I recorded my drums by myself, and it's like it doesn't sound like that. Yeah,
Yeah, I think I saw a post then maybe on your Instagram. You were at God City Studios setting up drums. Would you
yeah.
record there with or for
That's my other band here called Calm Collapse.
Calm Collapse?
Yeah, do you know a band from the '90s called Roadside Monument?
I don't think so.
Okay, they were a Seattle band in the '90s. It's the guitar player singer of that band playing guitar and singing, myself on drums, and my friend Jonathan playing bass. Uh, and we did our first record here in Seattle with Matt Bayless, and then wanted to change it up, so we went to Kurt Ballou to record in Salem at his studio.
Awesome.
And again, I saw he had awesome drums, so I'm like, well, I'm just going to bring some cymbals, and I brought a snare, but he had a better snare, so we used that.
Right. Yeah. Everyone that I've talked to, there's been a lot of drummers that I've talked to that have recorded there, and I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure everyone has said that they've recorded with a Frankenstein kit, which is funny because when I saw that picture, I was like, "There's your Franken kit." God
yeah.
City Studios sounds
You
like
know, they're
there's.
different. They're different color wraps, but I think they're all kind of the same era.
Oh, interesting.
Ludwig drums. I don't know if they're actually from other kits. I could be wrong about that, but
Okay.
looking at them, they looked like they were like identical age, but
Really?
just kind of like a jelly bean kind of setup. But they sound great. I mean, that's one of those things putting like a clear emperor on a Ludwig, any kind of Ludwig for the last 3 decades. Like I know how to make that sound the way I want.
Uh-huh.
So if the studio has that, I'm like, cool. If I bring these heads, I think I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were cool with you like swapping heads on the kit on the studio kits?
Oh, they insisted.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I walked in there, like, these heads look pretty good. And Kurt's like, nah, new heads. Use new heads. I'm like, okay. And then he
Oh,
actually because I'm a fairly decent tuner, but not. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's good. That sounds great.
yeah.
Um, and then when I was done doing what I was doing, Kurt's like, you mind if I have a go? And so I just left the room, and he just like went to work for like 30 or 40 minutes, and they sound amazing. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kurt gets incredible drum tones. I've mentioned it many times throughout the podcast, the years of the podcast, that sort of unconsciously I've amassed probably the most records of any other producer in my record
Yeah.
collection. It took me a while to just be like, oh, I didn't even realize Kurt did this record. I just loved the way it sounded. I thought it captured whatever the essence of this fucking big, bombastic, crazy band was, and it
Yeah.
just is sounds like that. And then I realized, oh yeah, these are Kurt Ballou productions.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
especially in that. I mean, I know he works all over the place, but
Yeah.
that room and guys, which when you walk in, at first you might be a little. It's small. It's not a huge room,
Okay.
but kind of like that. I think it's kind of like that electrical in Chicago, which I'd never been to. But I've
Yeah.
seen pictures. They have that one really massive, tall, two-story room, but then they have that other room,
Uh-huh.
and that's generally where you hear like drummers are like, "Oh no, that's where you want to go." Is
Uh-huh.
that kind of like smaller room, and it feels
Gotcha.
like it's like that kind of size room,
Yeah.
so you can get pretty huge sounds actually. Yeah.